that's good to see. You know, we try our best to stay friendly with the Canadians on this page. We do our best to watch their back for weather. Get a lot of Canadians that watch our page, so. Severe weather goes across. Again, Mother Nature does not care about the lines on the ground. She just doesn't. So try our best to watch for both those down south and those north of us. I've called weather for on the Texas-Mexico border. It's wild when there's tornado warning storms coming right out of that. Gosh, what's the name of that mountain range? Right outside down in South Texas. I've been there 3-4 times now. I can't remember the name of it. And it comes right out. It's just like Italy, the way it comes right out of the mountains and then right into a valley. Kind of like, I guess Oregon too has the same thing. The way the Willamette Valley is, it's pretty unique. It's a very unique area. I was very spoiled with it growing up. I didn't realize how unique it was until I left. But yeah, these storms are kind of doing a whole lot of just confused, but there's just tracks everywhere. There's storms everywhere across the Northwest right now. Nothing's doing anything like overzealous, shall we say, but there's just storms everywhere. I mean, if right now you were driving anywhere down I-5, you'd just be in a... So this is my concern, is this is where we get lots of water. And then after hours and hours of rain, we start getting the high winds as this giant wind, you know, I don't want to call it a hurricane because that's not the proper verbiage, but as this big low pressure system spins in and keeps bringing in, then the winds come in, and now those trees that have been oversaturated for hours start falling down, and then they start falling down on people. That is where all of my fear has come from for this whole weather event. Is people being squished by trees. So that is why we are staying up late into the hours to spot the weather and call it for folks. And Ian just sent in, he's got a system coming right over him. Let's see where he's at on the 360. Oh yeah, he's in Longview. Yeah, he's in Longview. He's right on the Columbia. Right on the Columbia. It's a beautiful area. It's incredibly beautiful if you've been there. So, we'll stick with this as long as we have to, guys. We were committed on this from the moment they said 5%. We knew, oh wow, 5% for this area. There's my kiddos. I am going to have to go tuck them in here in a minute and make sure teeth are all brushed and everybody's ready to go. But they know what Dad's doing. So it would be the loudest stream. They're in the middle of so many sports right now, so we just are a loud household, so it makes for a terrible stream, whereas my truck is dead silent, so except for me. Long tracks on these storms. These are incredibly long. I mean, you just would never see this there. You would never see storm tracks going from Portland all the way up to almost Tacoma. I mean, some of these tracks are just insane for this area. You just never see long track storms. This one's going from Sheridan to Seaside. Sheridan to Seaside is like a 2-hour drive, at least. Maybe 3-hour drive. Yeah, just wow. Okay, so they have thrown a special warning on the one up on the Port Angeles. That's going to go from Port Angeles, where I was born. My dad was in the Coast Guard, and that's a Coast Guard station. So that's got 40 mile an hour winds, nickel size hail, moving at 35 miles an hour. moving against the grain up on hurricane. So locations impacted are Hurricane Ridge and Mount Olympus. I've actually been to Hurricane Ridge several times. This one outside of Grand Ron, this one's got a little hook on it here. Yes. Interesting. That's going to head off into the Pacific Ocean, but that is heading towards the coast, towards Nehart's. That does have a little bit of an impenditure on it and a little slight rotation. Very minuscule, but that's in a radar gap too. It's got the mountains right in the way, so you never know. Like I said, though, we'll cover it as long as we have to. Cody says, will the east side of the Cascades get blasted? No, it'll be a wind event, Cody. It'll be all wind. This is all Western Washington. This is all from Eugene to Seattle. So the eastern side can just enjoy the wind. You guys are used to it. You're used to that wind on the eastern side of both states. So you guys will... Thank you guys. Really appreciate you guys watching. My biggest concern is hours from now. Okay, so starting to see some of the imagery coming in here. You can see Ashley. Ashley's actually got a decent little wall cloud on hers, it looks like. Oh, where's she at? That's coming out of Cottage Grove, huh? Oh, no, excuse me. She's on the other side. She's by Sweet Home. Yeah, she's outside of Brownsville right now at the moment. Let's take a look on radar. Hers is the most visually appealing storm right now. Yeah, it's just, again, there's so many radar holes. The poor West Coast has, I mean, from the California-Oregon border to the Canada border, it really has 3 radar stations, and you could argue really only 2. on the I-5 corridor. That's just crazy. There's nothing in Eugene. You go from K-Max on the Klamath Falls all the way up to the KRTX. That is so crazy. I've never noticed that. There is essentially one, and then you go all the way to Eastern Oregon for the other radar station. Think about how large that is. For instance, there is 30 stations in the same size in just Texas. If you took that same, and I understand why. I'm not the obvious here, but I mean, in 2025, we shouldn't have radar gaps hundreds of miles wide. So I see why it looks like she's staring at a wall cloud, and I'm all looking at radar like, that doesn't look, because radar is long, far away where she's at. So yeah, she's got a beautiful storm by her, and it's tough to tell what it is on radar because it's so far away from any. But she's doing a great job. She's holding the pocket on this one. Not the easiest conditions out there. It's high base clouds. You're getting a lot of rain, a lot of lightning. So we will do our best, but conditions are adverse. Crack my neck. I broke my neck when I was a kid. Snapped it in half. In Klamath Falls, right where I'm looking at on radar, ironically. I was paralyzed for 6.5 weeks. Right at my 16th birthday. And then they Humpty Dumpty me back together, and I got lucky and walked. So yeah, this whole area is my old stomping grounds as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult. Raised hell, raised families. Did it all out there, so lived the whole lifetime. Had a career. And then one day I said, I have simply had enough of this beautiful area. I am ready for a change of scenery. And I moved out to Kansas, bought a ranch. 400 acres. Right next to my brother. So, and then he left. He took a job in Nebraska. So I moved to Oklahoma. We lost the ranch to the floods. And then he moved shortly after, and I went to Oklahoma. And then had a video go viral, and it was right at COVID. So for those joining, I'm just telling you the quick story, how we got to this point. How do you get 150,000 followers and blah, blah, blah. How did, I get that question all the time. How did it happen? Because if you're just finding me now, you're just coming into it, and I could get where you'd wish you could get like a quick, hey, where did you come from? So came from this area right here that we're watching tonight, intently. And maybe I'm guilty of sounding the alarms and being overly concerned, but you guys gotta understand, last week I was in a storm that killed 40 people. 40 people lost their lives on the storms I was in just a week ago. They're no longer here. They're gone. They're gone. Their families mourn their losses. Houses are gone. Like, I just came from that, fresh. Not even 7 days ago. Right? I don't even know anymore. So, you can imagine when I see this, like, we have to go all in and do our best to help be prepared. And so we rallied the troops, and got our crew together tonight to cover this. So no matter if the weather doesn't perform or it does perform, we did our best to perform and cover and make sure people knew what was coming at them in the line of fire. So I can't stress to you enough. I was just in Mississippi where I think 43 people, I said 40, I think it was 43 people lost their lives due to weather. So put yourselves in my shoes. What would you do? What would you do? Would you worry about the weather fizzling and it doesn't do it and your reputation and all that silly stuff? Or would you be like, hey, I just saw an ugly event not even a week ago? Joyce says, no, never rethink warning if you have a chance to say public. Exactly. It's exactly, so that's what we're doing. So we just got to do our best to be vigilant tonight. And right now, you look at radar and you go, oh, it's just not a lot. And we're still waiting on that big old low pressure system to get here. Yeah, I'm getting folks that are asking me, hey, what do you think? I don't know. We're watching it intently. Right now, we have nothing on the board. A lot of storms are happening. It's very washy. It's very, we'd call dirty. It's a dirty storm in the sense because you're just basically driving through a car wash. So that's dangerous in the sense that you're hydroplaning. Hydroplaning sucks. So that's the best case scenario. Yeah. Yes, that is correct. We're also still, I mean, it's only 6:30 there. So it's easy to start getting that, oh, it's a dud out here at 9:30 on the East Coast, me staring at radar. But those guys are still in the thick of it. It's still 6:30. They still got dew points, temperatures. It's still sun out there. A lot of lightning. So no matter what, people are walking out of this one going, well, it produced lightning. Like, it did produce some storms. It's not like it's not producing storms. They're just not organized supercells. They're dropping baseball that they had indicated. So it happens. Listen, I have no problem riding and dying with the NWS. It does not affect me in one slight bit at all if I get criticized. If me, the team, us, if we get criticized. So the NWS knows. Isn't that just a rewarding sound? Water being poured. Or it makes you have to go to the bathroom. But it is what it is. That's the whole thing about Mother Nature. You know how many times I've got on a plane and gone, we'll see what happens. It's such a wild way of living that you just are like, okay, whatever the weather does is whatever the results are. You know, I went down to Hurricane Ian. Hurricane Ian was supposed to be a Cat 1, Cat 2. Messy, sloppy. It was going to just be a rain producer that was going to fizzle into Tampa. And I kid you not, we took so much criticism from our own industry, chasers. Texting a message, oh, you wasted money, you wasted your time. Just Well, there's nothing but negativity. And what are you doing? Good luck watching the rain. And then all of them were dead silent the next day. Everybody the next day. I didn't hear a word from nobody. Cat 4-5. And it turned right into Fort Myers. Killed 135 people. Those people went to bed going to sleep thinking it was another ordinary hurricane that was going to do nothing but fizzle out north of them. And they woke up the next morning to a Cat 4-5 at 7 a.m. on their doorstep. That will forever be sizzled into me. Hurricane Helene this year. We sat on the beaches ready to die in Florida for a hurricane that screamed right over the top of us before anybody could even react to it. Gone. Fizzled or not fizzled, like did the damage it did. Like I don't want to understudy what it did to, undertake what it did to Florida, but it was gone. I mean, it was just 30 miles an hour, screamed over, and then sat right over the Carolinas, stalled out, sat still, flooded out. Biblical proportions. If I knew what I knew now, I was up in the Carolinas going door to door, telling everybody to run. And that hurricane taught me a lot of lessons. That taught me a lot. Every hurricane this year was so radically different than the next. Milton, 78 tornadoes. I mean, that was a tornado fest. Again, went ready to die for the eye, and over on the other side of the state, there was this insane amount of tornadoes just all over the place. A few years ago back in Rolling Fork, nobody knew Rolling Flat Night was going to be. That wasn't, I go back to Morton, Texas. That thing was a massive, that thing was the biggest tornado I've ever seen in my life. And it was rated an EF1 because it just hit a bunch of barns and outbuildings and did nothing in the middle of nowhere. And that was on a marginal day. That was on a lesser day than today for the Northwest. Granted, it's in Texas, so I get it. But you don't know. I go back to July 5th, 2022, when we had the ratio, and we got the green screen. The screen that will forever be our Facebook background, at least as long as I own this page. That green screen right there, that happened on a storm. Let me tell you about that storm. The entire Chase community stayed home for that storm. Stayed home. It was 4th of July. Nobody wanted to travel. It didn't look that great from the SPC. It just looked like it was going to be a long bow echoing garbage storm. Nobody went. I didn't even want to go, to be if I have to be completely honest, because we've been on the road for 6 weeks straight. Kurt finally went home back to the UK. I just wanted to sleep, and then next thing you know, Courtney's like, well, let's go. We're going up to it. And we drove that night. We watched all of the 4th of Julys through the United States, through the Midwest driving up. It was crazy. Like you could see them just in the distance, all these little town 4th of Julys. And then the next day, an epic storm of epic proportion that was nobody had on their bingo card. So that's why getting reports of lots of thunder, lot of thunder out there. So it's crazy that nothing is rated or on the board, because there is just absolutely wall-to-wall storms from top to bottom, but they're just incredibly dirty. So it's just massive amounts of lightning and rain. Just a very, very dirty car wash right now. So right in the mid-valley. So anywho, yeah, there is a pretty large storm heading directly at Seattle right now. Seattle is actually going to see a pretty they've just put it looks like Canada. Yeah, Canada's put a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the next 8 hours around all of Victoria. So Canada's going to get the brunt of this. They're seeing it now. We're waiting here to see what this does. It's just a big waiting game. Yeah, tough to say, guys. You know, again, I don't want to sound like an apologist, but all we can do is just cover the storms. The storms do whatever they do. So I personally love these days because right now I know that the fatality factor is just mitigated to pretty much you know, automobile accidents. The winds, it's heavy winds, they're coming, so the trees falling are going to be a situation. But right now we haven't had any tornado warned storms. We haven't had any you know, nothing to speak of. So and the hail was supposed to be up to 2.5 to 3 inches, but we haven't had large hail. You know, it looks like this could be a dissipating situation. You never know. And then the second we go, and turn our back, then all of a sudden it ramps up. Again, I just told you stories about Hurricane Ian. We were even supposed to sleep in the next morning. We were supposed to sleep in. It was supposed to come to us in Sarasota. We stayed up way too late. Next thing you know, 4 hours later, we're abruptly woke up. Is abruptly a word? And it was a Cat 5. So you just never know. Thank you, Sean says, by the way. We appreciate you here in the valley. I know you think otherwise, but sometimes we're breaky. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I know. I sometimes I overreact. And I apologize. And then he's all about the storms. Stay safe. Thank you, love. She is in New York. which is, as the crow flies, 2.5, 3 hours away from me from here. And I would have loved to have gone up and seen her tonight in New York. But unfortunately, between the kiddos and covering the storms and having to go to work tomorrow, I was not able to go up and see my loving lady in New York. So it's always frustrating. Hour and a half away is what you think it is from where my work is. It's 2.5 from here. Jersey. Oh, that's right. You're in New York. Okay, well, I mean, you can appreciate what I'm getting at. All right, back to the storm. I'm going to say this is going to cause a lot of rain. Good amount of lightning. 30,000. Matt, good catch. Matt says 30,000 foot tops heading towards Seattle. That's a big one. The one in south of Tacoma. That one's looks like Seattle might see the main show here tonight. You knew somebody was going to see it. So, you knew. Oh, Benjamin says it's getting heavy rain in Philomath. That's Philomath, not Philomath. So that is where the Mary's Peak effect is. I was very curious to see what that was going to do tonight. And we're seeing a lot of rain. Big old rain band from Salem all the way to Philomath. Philomath to Albany, that whole area. Big old, actually pretty robust. Yeah, Mike is actually going to get... Ian says the marine push surged in and cooled everyone off. Yeah. That's a decent one. Yeah, that one's actually coming together. And that happened pretty rapidly. So from Salem all the way up to Neotarts. Neotarts Bay, that whole area, Rockaway Beach, you're gonna see a pretty decent storm come over your way. Pretty good lightning, pretty good thunder, and it's getting organized pretty quickly. So we'll see. Maybe because last time I was here, you were in the tornado. Oh, that's true. Good point. That's twice. Both times the weather too. Ugh, that's terrible. I would say just terrible. I mean, but analyze this. Where were you at on Valentine's Day? I don't think I have to go too far to remind you. You had the best Valentine's Day ever. And I mean, can I still cash that check, or is that one done? There's never take your girl to work day, is there? They just don't have that. But when you're live streaming, that happens. So, anyways, back to the storm. Yeah, those are, it's now starting to get a little bit more robust. I was kind of losing a little train of thought on this, but now the tracks have tightened up. A lot of lightning in this one, especially heading towards Seattle. I could see that one becoming special warned, especially for the population. You bring up a great point, though. It was an outbreak, though, in the South, my love. I mean, I had to go. I simply had to go. the news paid me to go, on top of the fact that we are always about helping saving lives. So I simply had to go. It was an outbreak. 43 people passed away. That's terrible. It's terrible. I've had a whole week to think about that one. Should have been 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks or 1 week? Was that 2 weeks ago? I don't know. I lose track of time. But that was a super sad situation. So I know those folks are still reeling, still picking up the pieces. So our thoughts and prayers to those in the South, down in Mississippi, from Taylorstown to Taylorsville. Tylerstown to Taylorsville, Mississippi. Tylerstown was hit by a EF3, and then where we were at was hit by an EF2. We were right on that son of a gun too. We tucked right underneath it, just could not get a lock on it. It's so, and then the trees came down. Once the trees come down, the trees always ruin South Dixie chases. The trees are always flying down, so they fall and they cover the road up, and you can't drive over them. And it's so scary for those people down there. So that is exactly why I sounded the bells, whistles, and horns for the people up in the Northwest, is that you can simply understand. I just days ago was in Mississippi where it was tragic. So I would hate to see that happen again in some form or another, and have not done anything. So here we are, covering what looks to be really overperforming lightning storms right now. A lot of water, but we haven't had a ton of rotation. The tornado warnings have not been in effect, which is great news. So yes, and Matt, like you said, good news is it's showing very little rotation at all. You have some making up to do, and I would go to work with you tomorrow. It's not that fun. My work's not as cool as yours. It's just simply not. You would be bored. This marine layer low that you were talking about here. I don't know. I don't know what to make of tonight's storms, now that it's actually happening. But it's almost like it's stalling. So it's 6:43 there. So the sun's going down. Yet to have a severe warn storm. Thank goodness. But the severe watch is on for another 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 50 minutes. Matt says falling trees reminds me of my one chase in Dixie. Lots of spin-ups, lots of falling trees. Yeah, but nothing visible. That's right, Matt. Matt's so correct. It's to the eye, except for the aftermath. Yeah. Matt nailed it dead on. That is what you deal with. Dixie is the most visibly unappeasing chase you're ever going to see. But I, long ago, lost the joy in visible, appeasing storms. I lost the passion for the art of it. And that happened somewhere between Powderly and several hurricanes. Powderly, Texas was the largest tornado I was on. It was an EF4, rain-wrapped, ugly monster. Killed 7 people right in front of us. And I just have never cared about the optics of storm chasing anymore. And I don't know if I ever will. So, I only care about getting into these things to help people. And we maybe, although it looks like most of this action's up on the higher elevations. I mean, all the reports right now are all up in the higher
towards me. This comes to be anything, I'm gonna move away from the substation here. Give me a sec, I gotta start my car. I'm not gonna drive. Scud here on the bottom, but can never be too sure. Yeah, I'm thinking the same. It does look a little interesting to me. I was watching on the radar because my house is out there, so I was just making sure that nothing was gonna be upsetting my dogs. And then the one up to my north looked a little bit more interesting. So I was watching that, and that's when I was getting rained on in the back. Wondering why that scud is dropping just a little bit lower. I don't see anything concerning about it. It's pretty stagnant. It's not moving. No rotation. Kind of just taking a moment to look around off of my phone. What I gotta keep an eye on is that the south to southwest-ish. That's gonna be the west over here. Then we're kind of looking more south. And then this is kind of to the southeast. And then we got east over there. I wish I could zoom in on this because there's some interesting stuff actually happening in that scud. Just what I'm looking at is over on the left hand of the scud over there. What's it doing? Maybe playing my little thunder song actually worked. So I'm gonna hop off for just a second. I want to check my radar, make sure I'm looking like I'm still in an okay spot, and just check my notifications real quick, but I'll be back on.
Of those comments in the first 38 seconds of that video existing, so pretty quickly that one got debunked, if that's the one we're talking about. You got to know, if something like that thing would have been immediately tornado warned after the fact. Like, they would have watched that storm like a hawk after seeing that. Like, I can tell you this. So, like, the NWS they're not stupid. They know storm chasing. They know social media. Like, they watch any popular page. I know they watch our page. I've been told. They've used our page for verifying, and that's an incredibly humbling thing to be told. So, something like that storm, just for instance, let's say that really did happen. That storm would have been, like, immediately given a rating. Like, just in case it repopped and did something again. So that's the world we live in now as people. You get that. So thanks, AI. Thanks, Bin Laden. Yeah, that's the wrong movie if you didn't know. We're just watching that low pressure system that's sitting out in the middle of, well, not the middle of, but off the west coast. And it's kind of stalling. It's 9:53 here, on the East Coast. The little kiddos have gone to bed. I'm gonna go ahead and go give them a big hug and kiss anyways, and use the restroom, and I will be back. But it looks like at this point, this is not produced any tornadoes, any tornado warning storms. Not a severe warning storm yet. We've had a couple special warning storms. A lot of lightning and a lot of rain. So I expect saturated ground. Tough to say. So if we all missed it, then I'll go down with the ship. It's fine. Because it happens. If not, then we have multiple chasers in the field, so. Oh, look at that. There you go. Okay, so this is one of my chasers right now who cannot go live because his phone just died on him. And so his wife just sent the picture over. This is outside of Willamina. Look at that. That's actually beautiful. That's not really sloppy at all. I thought by looking at radar, but look at that. There's actually a plate in there. You can actually see. Am I zoomed in? Oh, I'm zoomed in as far as I can get. You can see just a little plate in there. So, I don't know, guys. It's a beautiful picture, though. But, it is what it is. My lovely lady is screaming. You could have come up to New York tonight. Could have done this radar live stream from the hotel. That Victoria Island is, they're going to see 57 miles an hour. That's a decent storm moving over into Canada. You're welcome, Canada. There's a gift from us to you. So, some water and lightning. Stay safe there, Victoria. And that's just going to be the name of the game from here on out for the night. So, these are very rapidly changing storms. But they have structure in them, oddly enough. does look like the cooling has happened, the rapid cool down, and that's what's taking the juice out of the storms. You pull that heat, because that heat was just baking all day. The sun was just baking the ground. People are sending me videos, and they're like, there's not a cloud in the sky. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, you don't know. The sun is just totally cooking your environment and making it all juicy and ready. But the problem with the ocean being right there, see, with the plains, you don't have the ocean. The Gulf is a few hundred miles away, and that's what brings in the humidity and moisture that collides with Canadian air, and then the dry air out of the desert, Colorado and New Mexico. So all those factors come together to make. It's a similar thing with the West Coast. You have the deserts on the east, but you have a huge mountain range in between them, and that really just throws everything off. And then you got a smaller mountain range between the ocean. It's a cool ocean. It's not like the Gulf at all. So you're constantly getting those northern frigid Alaska winds. Now in this case, it's actually coming from the south, but it's still a cold ocean. It's still 50-some degree, air, and 41 degree or whatever, 44 degree water, and the Pacific's freezing. It's cold. Like, even as a kid, you swam in it, you came out shivering in the dead of the summer. Like, nobody ever talks about going into the Pacific Ocean. Down in California, maybe, Southern California. But nobody over in Oregon and Washington goes into the Pacific Ocean. Oh, now we've got our first, just no sooner than I said that, now we've got two special, we got a Doppler on the one in Salem and the one outside of way far south, down by Crater Lake. That one, I could see the one by Salem going severe. So that's the one Micah was just on, we took the picture of. Oh, I see this. Ashley's got rising scud. Take a look at this. You just have to trust me. Yeah, look at this. Ashley's got rising scud from this storm. And this is south. This is down by Eugene. I mean, it's trying. It's been trying all day. But that is just, that's a big old tease. You see, it's trying right there, though. Yeah, Matt, you're so right on that. Yep, there's a big old nothing sandwich when it comes down to it. But for the West Coast, you can see where for a moment this was organized. If you watch this again from the beginning, now at the very end, obviously it lost all. But watch from the beginning. You see how it starts to just slowly organize itself. It's trying. It never quite did it, but it did get a little V to it. Where am I at? I am in Pennsylvania. Oh, the camera way too close. Way too close. I'm in Pennsylvania. So Micah's on that special warned. That one's moving fast. It's moving right at him too. So we've got 60 mile an hour. Oh, moving at 60. Wow, that thing's screaming. 40 miles an hour with pea-sized hail. So gusty, knocking down trees, tree limbs, blowing around unsecured objects, minor hail, damage to vegetation, and alike. So that one's to be aware of. That's outside. That's the state capital. And then there's another one with the same potential down outside of Crater Lake National Park. That's way far south, though. That one's coming up. That will be up in their hood in no time at all. So these storms are going to be repetitively going over the same areas over and over and over and over again until the clouds move on. So I'm getting a little fatigued. If you guys, never mind. Can't win. That southern one is moving at 50 miles an hour, dropping 50 mile an hour gusts with pea-size hail. Yup, that's the situation for those. There's people camping. I got a call from a friend that is camping, and my friend asked, "Do you think we should stay?" I said, "No, you should not stay." Like, but we're in a cabin in the woods. I'm like, oh, I don't know why you would want to even risk it. But I get it. Sorry. Want to see what my fortune cookie says? It says, seek contentment. Oh man, isn't that ironic? I think I can write a book on that. All right, we'll keep an eye on the storms. I'm gonna go ahead and hold tight here and just see what these do. Because one thing about special warns, they can go from special warn to tornado warn real fast. It happens in Florida all the time. So, I don't know why, but I noticed it. The Northwest does as well, so. Sorry, I just wanted to have. What do you think a fortune cookie is made of? Like, is it bread? It's like the best of all worlds. Like, why don't they make loaves of fortune cookie bread? Could you imagine if you could eat a whole piece of a fortune cookie like a piece of bread? I think about these things sometimes. Anyways, back to the storms. So, yeah, Victoria Island, definitely big old warning across special severe squall line for like 7 hours. Wow, Canada just knows what's up. 7 hours, I put that one. 7.5, almost 8 hours. All right, guys. Ashley, she was saying that it starts messing with your eyes when you start staring at scuddy clouds. You're like, is it touching the ground? Is it not? I've been there in Kansas before when I was still learning with the ropes on it all. Like, is that tornado? Is that tornado? Everything. Everything. It even remotely looked like a noodle in the sky. It'll throw you off. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and come back. I'm going to take a just small break here, and we'll see. Well, hold on before I take this break. An intermission, we'll call it. We've got 23 minutes remaining on this storm. Okay. Maybe we'll hold tight here for a second. I can hold tight. Alright, I'm getting some stuff sent to me. Hold tight. Oh, wow. I don't know if this is an accurate picture. I am skeptical of this one. Let me do some research. That is wild if that is accurate. I just cannot imagine. Yeah, they've already got it. They've already debunked it. Okay, so yeah, that one is a fake picture. It's from Oklahoma. I thought it was. You can see the rock, the shale rock threw it off. I was like, there's not many places in Willamette Valley that have that kind of shale rock. Someone posted this first picture. This happened in. Oh, there you go. Good later said someone just still. Yeah, this is fake. This is not. So far, there's been nothing. So I'm here to debunk. That one's fake. It's okay. I get it though, guys. You're surfing the internet and you come across it. Gosh, all the name calling. I know people get so upset about weather. It's so weird. Oh, that's a beautiful cloud, beautiful picture. Jen Mitchell, good shot. That, however, is not what starts a tornado, but beautiful picture. That is a base, what we call, what's up, Briggsy? It's that's a base. We call that the base of a storm. So, I'm getting lots of videos sent in from people. So, while this is not the most appeasing live to watch, wow, those look like some really. I mean, they're loose, but they're no, don't worry, it's all good. Get a lot of folks from Oregon. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you're live. I made the choice to say hi to you on the live. It's all good. I haven't seen a lot of people in a long time. I've been back there in 5 years now, and I haven't lived there for going on 8 years now, so it's okay. A lot of folks. I knew I'd get a lot of folks sending me stuff today because this is a big weather event for the area. But right now, there's a whole lot of nothing on radar, but it's all good. We'll yeah. So sorry. Yeah, it's just what it is. You know, we gotta keep an eye on these storms though but that is fake. All these images I'm getting sent are all fake. You're being that was an Oklahoma tornado from 2016, I think. So that didn't happen in Albany, not tonight. And then this other one, that's an AI video, and that looks like something from Asia. I don't know. I don't want to even give these videos and pictures airtime because people get so frustrated with all the fake stuff. But yeah, all these images are not real. So as of now, we just have one special warning storm on the board, and it is outside of the state capital. Actually, it's in the state capital right now. It's pounding the state capital north Salem, heading into Mount Angel. Heading towards Woodburn, which I think ironically was where the last tornado warning storm was in Oregon, was Woodburn, Mount Angel. So that's an area that traditionally gets decent weather when they get these patterns. So we're just doing our best, you know, kind of plodding through this. And then, of course, that one that's down in the national park, Crater Lake. Ever been to Crater Lake? Super deep lake in the middle of a volcano. I still don't know how deep it goes. Wild, right? Crazy that we can scan for minerals all the way into the, like, depths of the earth, but we still don't know how deep that lake goes. They tried taking a submarine down. I'm not sure how that worked out. But I don't know. All that could be a wise tale. Maybe they do know the depth of that lake, but it's incredibly blue too. If you've ever been there, it's incredibly blue. It's a blue that's very unique to its own. Well, we will do our best to so how are you guys doing? How are you feeling about this event? I love the lady said, oh, you did? That's good. Yeah, Jordan says there's been enough wind shear. There hasn't been a temp drop. Yep. I know you're in a perfect spot too. I was thinking, Jordan, you're kind of. I said that on the live stream. I said, oh, she's actually going to be in the. She's the fourth one because she's all the way up in the actual San Juan Islands or in the Puget Sound area. I'm not exactly sure if I'm getting the islands right, but yeah, turns out that the cold air is undercut. But you know what? Imagine if it hadn't happened. Imagine if it would have been much worse. I would live in guilt. I'd have a tremendous amount of guilt that I did not stay up and try to help folks know what was coming at them. I'd have guilt for not assembling a team of chasers. I would have guilt for not making the effort. And I just found a coin tray I didn't even know I had. I have a whole bunch of stuff I've never really. I got an extra charging port I didn't even know I had. This thing's actually a pretty sweet truck. Yeah. So I know I'm gonna take just a thrashing tomorrow. I can already hear it. It's okay. It is okay. It's not fun in life until you have detractors. So, but regardless, we're still gonna keep. Like I said, even if one person is helped by this, game, set, match, victory. So we were in Mississippi last week. Was it last week? Oh, sorry. I keep saying last week. I feel like I'm off. When was the Mississippi tornadoes? Because no, didn't I go? I took the kids to. When was that? Okay, was it 2 weeks ago? March 15th, Taylorsville. Well, there's one house that was squished. That sucked. We pulled this this lady out. It was so lucky there was no fatalities where we were at. Unfortunately, in Taylorstown, there was, I think, 3. And we were right on that tornado, too. And then we got cut off. So we had to circle back around. And we got back on it just in time in Bassfield. And then we took it all from Bassfield all the way to Taylorsville, and then Taylorsville got hit, and we're like, shoot, this is gonna be bad. So that town, I remember, I was just, a tough one. It was tough. 43 people passed away in total. 109 tornadoes. And 109 tornadoes, 108 or 9, I can't remember the exact. And 43 people passed away. So that was terrible. That was terrible. It's terrible to be around it, in the vicinity. It's terrible to be in the airport. I'm very grateful for the following of people that help us spread and share the word. If it wasn't for you folks, I would never, ever have been able to do this as a job, as a hobby, or even as anything. So I can't thank you guys enough. For those that are upset these storms didn't produce, I will start a complaint department. And you guys can complain away. I don't blame you. I get it. I put a lot of hype on this one. Call it heat. I put a lot of heat on this one. I put a lot of heat on this one because my father lives in this area. My older children live there. My friends, my cousins, my friends' parents, my friends' extended family. Like, when it's all said and done, it's thousands of people I know I'm connected to on the West Coast. Thousands. So I hope you can appreciate, after coming off a week of over 40 fatalities, that when the SPC says tornadoes and 2 to 5 inch hail and strong high wind gusts, that my reaction was to react and to put some heat on it and let people know that this could be bad. And if in the end it doesn't produce like they thought, then I can live with the criticism of being overly protective. I can live with that. And that's probably what will happen. It's more than likely, although we do have that one special warning storm still in the state's capital. It's on the board. I've remained in my position here to see what this storm does. Just only because it is heading straight towards Portland, and it is growing in stature. So it's got 10 minutes left. Take a peek. But yeah, it was a tough go. We just got into this town.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you guys some. So this town just got hit, and we came in, and here, I guess I'll go a long ways. And all these trees were down, and we started you start looking around immediately for search and rescue. There still wasn't any search and rescue there, so we circled back around. Actually, that might have been another tornado. I don't know. We chased. Oh, this was a nighttime one. This was right there. It was rain wrapped too. Son of a gun. Yeah, Orion with lightning. Yeah, look at this. I got the star constellation with a tornado warned storm. You're like, what? No. I don't know what I was doing here. I don't know why I thought that was so special. Anyways, it was a rough go, and it broke my heart to see all these people lose their houses and those that lost their lives. So naturally, when you do this, that one. this came apart. The roof, look at that. The whole house just like nothing.
This town just got
And
hit.
then you hear the
I
birds.
just happened to look over and see.
Oh yeah, that unit was still running. I forgot. I don't know. It sucked. It felt terrible for those folks. So Jordan says I got a pretty good bow echo. Yeah, definitely send it. Doubtful any funnels. Yeah, funnels are looking. Yeah, the wind shear. I already go through that. Oh, Crater Lake's 1950 deep. Yeah, well, they figured it out. I am tired. Peter Sound elevation to watch all around. It was pretty for the first 20 minutes. Yeah, that's probably a typical, and it's all sloppy now. I'm sorry, I was lacking. I would have been. Ah, it's all good. Oh, you're such a sweetheart, love. I know. She's so. Like, why did you not go to New York and see your loving lady? Oh, that's lovely. I was just thinking that too. Thanks, Joey. Well, I don't know what the outcome's gonna be, but looks like right now we just have that one storm that's outside of Salem, heading towards Portland, and there's just no two ways about it that it is underperformed, which is good. I am thrilled that my friends and family are safer than I anticipated, so I hope it stays that way. Let's see where. I don't know if that storm, what they're gonna do. It's got what, 8 minutes. I'm gonna stick it out for this last storm. We've got, it's moving at 48 knots, so that's like 53 miles an hour, 52 miles an hour. So that's going over Woodburn right now. It's got 5 minutes left. 40 mile an hour winds with half-inch or quarter-inch hail. So it's tiny hail, but yeah. Well, let's just take one peek what they do here, and we'll see how this goes. There's only 5 minutes left. I've been out here for a couple hours now, so what's 5 more minutes? And if tonight just did not perform to the standards that were thought to be, then that's the way it goes. So, but like I said, I hope you guys can appreciate multiple times in my career that we've gone to storms that were not supposed to do things, and then they way overperformed. Way overperformed. Hurricane Ian will always be the benchmark, though. We literally had people making fun of us. You guys are going to a Cat 1. I bet it doesn't even turn into a Cat 1. You're right, it doesn't. It's a Cat 5. Which, the Cat system is very subjective. The notion that a hurricane is not dangerous because it's a Cat 1 is not true. So not true. And it took me, I don't think I got into a Cat 1 until Beryl, which was my 10th hurricane. And it was the only time, it made me go, whoa. There was times in Beryl it felt like a Cat 4. Like if I didn't know any stats, I just closed my eyes and felt it. It felt very similar. But immediately going inland, you could tell it didn't have near the ferocity that other hurricanes had. But right on the beach, raw laminar winds, tough to argue that it didn't have some of the same characteristics. go ahead and just see if they step this over and it goes to Portland. 3 minutes left. Excuse me. 3 minutes left on this storm. We'll see what they're gonna do here. So, what we're looking at here is the National Weather Service. What is this one? Has put 3 minutes left on this warning right here. I grew up just outside of it, Salem, little town over here, and then I worked up here. I worked in this forsaken area where my commute at 35 minutes. 19 years later, when I left, it was 2.5 hours. That's no joke. I went from less than 45 minutes to 2.5 hours in a matter of 20 years. You guys have a good one. Sounds like people are peeling off here. I get it. I do get it. The coverage is, shall we say, minimal for the storms. But we're just doing our best to spot for public safety, so I'm not trying to win a Pulitzer on this one by any stretch. Listen to that thing. Alright, back to the storm. Whoa. There we go. It's just rough go of the camera here. Alright, so this is kind of Custer's last stand on what are these storms doing here. Okay, so there's 1 minute left on this one. But you can see, I mean, this is the whole area. And then this is the one down at Crater Lake. But for you guys that are, yes, she did grow up there. That's true. It's a messy one. It looks like they're most likely about to drop, and they have dropped it. Okay, dropped it on this one, not on that one. Okay, well, right now that would indicate to me that the storms are not producing at the velocity that they expected. So it's still going to be a nocturnal event. We will cover it. Just because I'm going to take a little break here does not mean the coverage stops. We have a team of over 18. We're up to 22 now. 22 men and women. Scientists, meteorologists, chasers, spotters, all like on this team. And I can promise you, if anything shall happen, that we will immediately summons the live stream, post the warnings, and we will stay committed to the storm, because that's what we do. But at this time, I feel confident in saying that this is not producing tornadoes like we had thought, or at least tornado warned storms like what was indicated. And that's a victory for the sense of public safety. For weather fanatics, might not be a victory. But nonetheless, we will bring it back here if in fact, and that's happened in the past. That's happened in Dixie. Storms didn't produce, kind of busted in the day in Louisiana, and the next thing you know, this is about a year and a half ago, maybe closer to 2 years ago. And all of a sudden they just blew up in Mississippi in the night, and it was, I think we actually had a couple of fatalities in Alabama the next morning. That was in the infancy of this page covering storms like that, when I was just figuring out like, whoa, wait a minute, we can help people even though we're not there. So if that is in fact the case, we will definitely jump right back into this. So, but it is what it is. Right now we don't have any storms of significance on the board that are from the NWS, the governing body that sanctions what is severe warned, not severe. So they do, however, rely heavily on spotters and chasers. So yep, Jordan, you said it right. Their worst weather. That polar bomb was bad. That was a night. That was ugly. So we'll bring it back if that's the case. I'm gonna go ahead and call it for the moment. And for those in the Northwest, just know that we care, and that we put all our efforts into this one for those that live out there, and for those that have family and friends out there and are concerned. So we can live with the results. But one last checker radar here. Just looks like a lot of lightning. Very, very, very interested to see what the lightning shots will look like coming back from. I should probably just check my messenger, my inbox. Fortunately, the weather did not turn out the way the SPC had predicted. Unfortunately, for those in that area, you still have to deal with a vast amount of water, lightning. So be careful. No reason to be out late. Don't go out. Looks like the reports may not quite pan out, but I'm not gonna scald the NWS. There's enough chasers that do that constantly nitpick every little thing. That I don't know if that, where the motivation is at. Is that because you got passed over for the job, or I don't know. But I'm not here to critique. It's an incredibly tough job. I wouldn't want it on my hardest day. So I just point the car at the clouds and go. And just try to help dig people out once the clouds are gone. So I don't do the science stuff. I keep that really transparent on that. We are a public safety page. That is the premise. I'd like to say I think you all are going to be pretty much seeing the brunt of it right now. So I think you're going to be okay in the Northwest. But don't let your guard down. Just because I might be taking a slight break. You never know. That storm right now that's still on the board down outside of Crater Lake, Still got 23 minutes left. In 45 minutes, that thing could be a situation coming into the valley, and that could be the storm of the night that everybody literally let their guard down. I'm making this scenario up, but you don't know. That could be the case. I've seen that happen often. So everybody just kind of gets lulled into a false sense of security, and then bam. So I've definitely made that mistake before. But I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you all. Thank you. Good night. Yes.